Yo, what's going on, my friends? This is Dave, and I want to do a video, and I wanted to talk about how to create supernatural prosperity the fast and easy way and make it long lasting. I mean, that's the way that everyone likes it, isn't it? It's fast, it's easy, and it lasts as long as you want. Uh, Here is where this information is coming from. Let me share it with you. Let me adjust my Jew hat here. I love these things. These are great. I got like two of them now. And let me share with you. Let me share with you some secrets that if you pay attention to these secrets, you're really going to be able to make a lot of money. And the best part about these secrets is you can take these secrets and you can apply them into any kind of business, any kind of job, any kind of life, and they work. And they work virtually instantaneously on autopilot, whether you do anything but these strategies or not. But the thing is, you can't really do these strategies without your mind opening up to the new strategies that are coming along in your favor, in your way. So how did I stumble across these secrets? Well, I've had many teachers in my life of prosperity, like Think and Grow Rich. Think and Grow Rich is, for example, I'm going to drink some water here. Hold on. I drink like 3 things like this water a day. I drink tons of water. I like this because it's hot out, so I can go hiking and keeps the water cool. Let me teach you how to manifest what you want. So Think and Grow Rich. What's Think and Grow Rich talk about? Well, there's several chapters in there. First of all, let me share with you a secret in that book. He tells you if you pay attention, you're going to find the secret, maybe, but you really got to focus because it's on every page and you never know where it is exactly. And if you pay attention to this whole book, you're going to find the secret. And then so you read the whole book and he never mentions in this book what the secret is. And so what's actually the secret? The secret is actually looking for the secret. Because as an old saying once said, seek and ye shall find, knock and it shall be opened unto you. He that seeketh findeth, and he that asketh it shall be opened unto them, right? This is the way the scriptures are. James actually says, if any of you lacks wisdom, let him ask of God, that giveth all men liberally and upbraideth not. So God essentially what he does is he waits, right? Let me explain actually how this works. God just sits there operating in his system, just kind of hanging out, watching everybody, waiting for people to ask. Now, they can ask in a lot of ways. They can think about something. They can make a dream board about something, right? They can actually ask him a question. They can make a written request. They can have visual images in their imagination. All of these are forms of the consciousness, essentially asking the higher power, asking God to do something. And until he's asked, he doesn't really do anything. And so we can learn a lot from that. And whether or not you side with my version on that, I think that's actually a very scriptural version. God doesn't really do anything unless he's asked. Sometimes we got to ask him to stop the wars. We got to ask him to do this and that because he needs us to ask. He actually needs it. Because otherwise he just wants to chill out. He's like, oh, let them do it. He helps still, but really, he needs us to ask. He needs the angels to ask. He needs us to ask questions. So asking you to receive is a great principle of prosperity. And so I don't know if you've ever really asked for something really, really big before. I think a lot of us have done things like that, where we've asked for something like gigantic, and then it seems like for a time along your journey that nothing is happening. And while that time where nothing is happening is going on, there is actually something happening. And what is it? It's the phenomenon of spiritual doubling. And so let me explain what the spiritual doubling is. You're speaking your vision, you're speaking your vision, you're speaking your vision, you're speaking your vision, and sometimes it's just falling on the wrong ears. Sometimes it's actually not falling on enough ears, which is actually what's going on with my message. I needed to get it in front of more ears, and to do that, I need some resources, right? And when I get the resources, I can get my message out and everybody will resonate with my message because I'll have enough data to test everything. The reality is, though, right, with a message, you speak it, and maybe you've spoken your message and you spoke about your dreams, and you maybe even went into a company, and we've all done things like this, I think, where we go in and then we don't really see it through and then we blame the company. Have you ever done that? I've done that. I did that with Amway, and then I jumped to prepaid legal, and then prepaid legal, I realized, man, this culture is not like Amway. And I really like the Amway culture. And so then I was looking for another culture that was like Amway. My entire network marketing, I never found it. So then I found the internet, and I thought the internet had the worst culture that had ever existed for anything, right? They were very good at hawking things, and that's about what they were good at. And they made a lot of money doing things like that, right? And then I kind of made a name for myself there. And then I built my own culture. And my culture I built in a very similar manner, to the way that Amway built their cultures. And the reason I did that is because that's the culture that I liked the most. But it was like an internet version of them. So there was a lot of stuff that we just didn't bother with, that they bothered with because it was important to their genealogical structure. And for us, it just didn't matter. And the reality, or did it matter? I think it actually did matter. And we found that out later the hard way that it mattered. But I actually think that it did matter is the culture, right? So in any case, what happened is this. It seemed like when I took off, it came from absolutely nowhere. People are like, where did this guy come from? And this came from absolute nothing. This guy came out of nowhere. And it seemed like you're just staring at, it's like if you go to NASA and they're launching a rocket to the moon. And, you see this thing take off and explode, and nobody tells you the backstory, and then you've never even heard of something like that. You're like, that just came out of nowhere. I bet they just put that thing together in 5 minutes. I bet they could do that thing real fast. And they're like, no. This took 6 months of planning. There was like 20 years of science. There was a lot of failed attempts. A lot of people died attempting to go to space, right? And then, some of the missiles crashed. Some of the ones that crashed burned down fields. And then finally they figured it out, and they figured out that even when the missile is headed to the moon, they have to course correct all the time from the machine base down here on the land. They have to constantly give feedback, or these guys get off track. So they have to give feedback. Are they going the right way? Right? And then all of a sudden the story changes. And the reason the story changes, right, is actually really simple. The story changes because you know the backstory. So when you know the backstory of somebody, all of a sudden they're coming out of nowhere is never coming out of nowhere. So what's happened that entire time when nothing seemed like it was happening? What happened is it's like the phenomenon of a penny doubling every day, right? If I gave you, if I was going to say I'll give you $1 million or a penny doubling every day for 30 days, what would you take? Well, probably you'd take the million because it's fast and this is how people think, right? And guaranteed both ways, the penny's better. Why? It works out to be something like 10 million or something like that. It's like 1, 2 cents, 4 cents, 8 cents, 16 cents, 32 cents, 64 cents, 128 cents, right? And then it just goes up to about 10 million bucks in 30 days. So it seems like nothing is going on for the vast majority of the month until you finally start to have like $100. Then that doubles, it's 200. Then all of a sudden it's 400. Then all of a sudden it's 800. Then all of a sudden it's 1600. And now all of a sudden you're doing with hundreds what you were doing with pennies. You're doubling the hundreds, then you're doubling the thousands, then you're doubling the tens of thousands. See, this is how you get into the millions. You got to start with a vision, and it does not matter if people hearken into your vision in the beginning. You need to adapt your communication of the vision, perhaps, and perhaps you need to go find a different crowd. I promise you, if you speak a vision to enough people, to enough human beings, in enough ways, there is a percentage of society that will just fall in love with any vision, right? People will fall in love with good visions and bad visions and all sorts of stuff. Right? But really the good visions more people will fall in love with. Like, for example, if I get in front of a room of people and I share my vision today, there's probably about a third of the room that will instantly resonate with the message in some kind of really powerful way. And then there's like about another third that'll probably get freaked out by it, right? Because they don't understand it. And then there's about another third of people, right, that will decide later, but they're just listening and paying attention and they're wondering about it. And I'm very good at communicating a message, and that's about the results that I can get. Now, if I get a pre-framed crowd in front of me, it's very different. I can take a room of pre-framed people and I can convince them to do anything if they're pre-framed properly. Now, we got to be really careful what we convince people to if we're good visionaries and we're good communicators and we're good orators and stuff like that. We got to make sure that we do things in a totally different way, right? The reality is this. The reality, the simple reality that I want to share with all of you, the very simple reality is that you can get massive results if you listen to me. I promise you can get massive results. My ideas are like any ideas. They've been exponentially compounding for the last 2 years. And you say, well, how much exponential compounding does it need? It needs a sufficient amount of exponential compounding until my mind is in a consciousness, is in a certain place where it communicates with your mind and your consciousness in a way that causes you and your friends and their friends to believe in very high ratios. See, I've demonstrated I believe in myself, I believe in myself, I believe in myself, and I had to stand up to myself. I had to stand up for my beliefs against some very fierce opposition in order to get people to stop trying to take me out, right? And I stood up for myself and stood up for my beliefs, so that exponentially compounding and exponentially compounding and exponentially compounding and exponentially compounding. And there's many people that have been beginning to believe. And then what happens after the exponential compounding takes over is now all of a sudden you've got this group of people who believe. It could be 1, it could be 2, it could be 12. I have many friends, male and female, that believe. And so then all of a sudden, I get these believers and these followers, and many believe. And then the people that believe, they compound, and what will happen is that'll compound, and that'll produce a bunch of money. And the bunch of money will produce social proof and credibility. My wife will be attracted to me again. She'll come back, then everybody will start believing because she's by my side. She's honoring me. And she's doing it because she also believes. Right? Then all of a sudden, my children are believing. Then all of a sudden, my family will start believing. And when my family believes, their families will believe. And then when their families believe, and their families believe, and their families believe, all of a sudden, we've got 10,000 people. Now, all of a sudden, we've got a sufficient group of people that are out there in order that we can take this group of people together and we can actually do something, because my ideas require teamwork in order to pull them off. Volunteer teamwork, like people saying, yeah, I want to volunteer and I really want to help out. Like, so can you help me out? Ask me how you can help. You can send me an email to teachingsofkingdavid@gmail.com, or you can hit me up on my Facebook account. Okay. And look for the one with the photo with the Merkaba, me and the triangles with my son Gabriel. Right. Hey John, how much time you got left? Yeah, we got about 10 minutes. So what's it take to really pull it off? Well, what it takes to really, 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 really pull it off is to get around the kind of people that can really help you to pull it off. Okay? You got to get around the kind of people that can really help you pull it off. If you really want to pull it off, you got to get around the people that can help you pull it off. And this is true of me, and this is also true of you. Who are the people that can help me pull my message off? You, watching this. It really doesn't take a lot of us. I took a very small group of people, and I built an Empower Network from a very small, inexperienced group of people with very little experience. Some of them had more experience than others, but the reality is they were very inexperienced people. I do not need pre-existing leadership to form my own leadership. I don't need it. I'll form my own leadership. And then we also will get pre-existing leaders, and then they form pre-existing leaders. And really the system creates the leadership because they have something safe that they can be nurtured in for a very, very, very long period of time. Okay? The reality is this. Water, and I got some flowers in there. They're great. I just picked some flowers and put them in there. Random ones. Makes the water taste better. Makes my skin smell like flowery. No, not really. So in any case, what happens is the vision begins to exponentially compound. And then all of a sudden people decide to take action. They decide to take massive action. They decide to take action together. All of a sudden people are deciding to pull out their credit cards and make a decision to donate or to buy or to build or to do whatever it is that you want to do, to your vision, to join your company, to join your vision, to join your team. Right? This is from Paul. Paul, it's wrong. Okay? It's not true. It's not true, dude. The Merkaba is an ancient vehicle that was invented by Adam. There's a reason it's on the Jewish flag. I actually was in a deliverance ministry, but I don't want to talk about that right now, Paul. So let's talk about it in another video. Okay? I'm telling you, dude, I have been more peaceful since I put this thing on my head than I've ever been. That says it all right there. Fruits of the Spirit, brother. So in any case, but we can talk about it. You know what I mean? Thank you for the feedback. I know about what you're talking about. Okay. All right. So let me share with you. Okay. How we can work together to create unity. So people start working together. You're speaking your vision, and all of a sudden people start creating unity. And when people start creating unity, what happens is they're all listening to each other, okay? And they're all creating unity together. And then all of a sudden when they're creating unity together, and when they're creating peace together, okay? They're creating unity together and they're creating peace together. What happens is the vision begins to really exponentially compound. So it's been exponentially compounding in your own consciousness in a few people, and then all of a sudden it's exponentially compounding. Then more people start to believe, and it hits a critical mass of belief and faith and consciousness, which is quantum mechanical energy. Okay? Then what happens is the vision just exponentially explodes in every direction. It explodes in every direction. The vision just exponentially compounds in every direction. Like, it just explodes. And all of a sudden, the people who believe start getting other people to believe, start getting other people to believe, starting to get other people to take action, starting to get other people to pull out their credit cards, starting to get other people to go viral, starting to get other people to call apostles, starting to get other people to build churches, starting to get other people to build nations and kingdoms, starting to get other people to build your business and to build their business and to start companies. And then it's like, bam! Okay? And then it goes in a very short time from what seems like nothing to 2% of market penetration. Like very, 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 it's like this takes forever. And then it just goes bam, like straight up. No, I would never shave my head. I have my hair. I learned this from the Native Americans. Somebody said you shave your head. No. I learned this from the Native Americans, that you cut your hair, you lose your power. All right, so it exponentially expands, it explodes, and exponentially compounds and fills the rivers and the skies and the mountains and the businesses with your prosperity and your peace. And then what happens, okay? Then what happens is it fills the mountains and the rivers and the skies. and the nations with your message. And like as the rain comes and it descends on people that believe in your vision, it goes into the earth and takes root in the soil. And as people sweat and it evaporates into the rain, your vision then trickles down in the rain upon the nations of the earth. And everything's just consciousness. Everything's just peace. And then what happens is you build kingdoms. And then what happens is you build nations. And then what happens is you build cities. And then what happens is you build businesses. And then what happens is you build ministries. I have a dream. See, I have a dream where every person in the world has sufficient food and water for the next 6 months in savings. And then 2 years. And then the mountains produce fruit. And then the wildlife exponentially expands. The world turns vegetarian like it was in the days of Adam. I have a dream where the streets will be paved with gold. But we got to stand up for our rights. We got to stand up to evil. We got to fight the forces of evil. We got to fight the forces of evil together in order to do this. We got to be okay fighting the forces of evil. Whatever we got to do. This is who we fight. We don't fight each other. We fight the forces of themselves. We fight the evil. We unify in that message to get rid of them. And then they go away because we're fighting them with what? With our love. And then they just depart. Cannibalism is happening in Venezuela. No electricity for the past 8 weeks and all the money collapsed. People eating each other. I've been warning about this for how long, Paul? Since I was with you, right? And before. I was warning about it for a long time. Right? And now it's happening. Those of you who have been paying attention to me notice that I keep talking about things in advance that then happen. Over and 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 over again. So why was that collapse? Well, central bankers, and then you could say Donald Trump was involved or whatever, but really it was the collapse of the economies are orchestrated to get people scared to do what? Get something. They will get something there. Cast that out. That's what really the fear is there for. You know that, right? Yeah, they shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be removed. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the days of the wrath of the Lord. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it is stumbling block of their iniquity. Yeah. So when we, Paul, by the way, Paul, thanks for apologizing, brother, in the other video. I love you. And we can do the debate or any debate anytime, but really it'd just be friendly discussion of scripture is probably what it turned into at this point. My point is, you were a fantastic apostle when you were with me, brother. Remember how peaceful you are and how much, you were possessed by demons. I know you were, and very much so. And you still got to fight. You still got to. I know some of the stuff that you did, and you got to get some. I'll tell you what you should do is go to a bishop of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints and ask him for a blessing, and that'll remove all of it. Anything left? Just trust me. Just do it. Even if you disagree with it, just do it. Or I could do it if you come here, or really go bishop. Anyway, when we work together like this, yep, exactly, man, exactly, you got it. All right, when we work together like this, I'm going to focus now, okay? I'm going to focus on what I'm talking about. Okay, Paul? When we work together like this, the problems depart. When we won't work together, the problems don't depart. When we won't work together, the problems don't depart. Okay? When we work together, the problems, they depart. Okay? When we don't work together, the problems don't depart. We get rid of the problems. That's what prosperity is about. It's about conflict resolution, giving each other hugs, getting rid of problems. No matter what, sticking with something until the conflict is resolved. You got to do that. You got to be okay taking time to resolve conflicts, because otherwise we lose everything. I have experience in losing everything. It's not fun. Tithing and conflict resolution will prevent that entirely. Trust me. Just do it. Just listen to me, even if you don't believe yet on the tithing. Tithing is scientifically proven. Scientifically proven. The Torah, the entire thing, is scientifically proven. Not like I'll prove it. So here's what you do. You build kingdoms. You build nations. You build cities. You build states. You deliver your area. You deliver your friends. You create love and peace energy with everyone. I gotta go. My brother, I think, is done walking the dog probably. I love you. I appreciate you. I gotta prepare some stuff for tonight. And if we work together, everything will be solved that we want to solve through unity. How can you help now is my question. How can you help me? How can I help you? Let's work together. Prosperity. This is the message of prosperity. Exponential compounding. Thank you, Paul, for all your scriptures.